environment.
Well, it definitely seems like you guys have run around in a lot of different circles, or at least are welcomed in a lot of different circles.
Yeah, I like that about being in Greensky. I think that we sort of, in different contexts, we fill a different role. Like, there's the Humphreys thing. We go there and we're kind of like, to those listeners, they're like, wait, what the fuck, Bluegrass band is opening up? But then they see that, like, oh, you know what? I get why Humphreys brought these guys out. Like, They have the same, maybe a similar mentality. And in that, but we also can, when we're in the more traditional bluegrass environment, we're like the bad boy kind of like rockers. And it's kind of an interesting place to be in. But we love playing Nashville. As far as our trajectory and our thing, I mean, I think that we've sort of just come to a place where, like, we know who we are and we know what we do, and we're sort of exploring more and more what that means as we continue to write and develop new music and our sound. But hopefully, just more of what's been happening already with us, just being able to get out and play, and play bigger, cooler venues for more people, and just. I think it's funny to feel like sometimes this Greensky thing has gotten pretty big. Like we sold out Red Rocks. We played Red Rocks last weekend, 2 weekends ago, and when was that? I don't even know the date, which is awesome. Like 2 weekends ago, we played at Red Rocks and sold out like a month in advance. Like, that's crazy for a bluegrass band.
Of course.
For us, just in general. And then. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you have bluegrass at the core, but I feel like at the same time you never want to be pigeonholed by the thing. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, and we find that we're kind of not. Actually, we're kind of excluded from any sort of like a traditional bluegrass scene. Like they're like, like. Yeah. Not that we're like shunned in the bluegrass world, but we're certainly not recognized by the bluegrass community necessarily. But the alternative bluegrass community is where they're poster child, sort of.
I write a lot about bluegrass living in North Carolina, and I write a lot about a lot of other genres, but bluegrass is something I definitely write the most about. And I find myself bringing your band's name up as much as anybody when people talk about what is and what isn't bluegrass.
The ongoing debate.
Well, for me, I look at it as at the core of your band is definitely bluegrass, but I also say too, like, I think it's great to have a band like Greensky out there because they become a rabbit hole band for the genre. It might seem like a fringe to the traditional bluegrass folks, but at the same time, it's like because of those people on the fringe, that's people's first exposure, and then from you guys, they find that traditional stuff.
Yeah. There's that in bluegrass. There's that ongoing sort of debate, which we've sort of decided we're not interested in having anymore about like what is bluegrass and what isn't. There's somehow I don't know that in a lot of genres it exists, but there's a certain clot in bluegrass that's like if it ain't traditional, it ain't bluegrass kind of thing. And I don't know. You think about the kind of people who are heroes even in that tradition, like Sam Bush and Bela Fleck, and
who were considered outsiders 40 years ago.
Right, and even like Earl Scruggs, like he had drums on his albums. Like, I just don't think that these people, there's, not to talk shit about like the IBMA, but the International Bluegrass Music Association, had their awards show.
Yeah, last week.
I don't even know if we're a member of IBMA, like a due-paying member. I think we were at one point or something, but like, and I don't care about winning their awards either, but it's always just such a interesting thing to me that, they're at IBMA and our name doesn't get brought up.
Well,
and yet we're selling out Red Rocks.
Yeah, well, that's
you think they'd embrace us a little bit and be like, hey, these guys are bringing this bluegrass. I mean, the word bluegrass is in our name, whether we are traditional or not. Like we're bringing this music. We're introducing a lot of people to the genre who maybe never would have before because they didn't come up in North Carolina.
Agreed.
telling you.
I was at the IBMAs this past week for a couple days, and like I said, I read a lot about bluegrass, but I keep finding myself saying, people ask me, well, what's the future of it? What's the future of it? Or where are all the young people? I said, well, they're at Greensky, they're at Infamous String Dusters, they're at Yonder Mountain.
Right.
That's where they are, and you guys have shut out a lot of those entities. I mean, Infamous definitely gets nodded by the IBMAs, but I say, hey, you want to reach out?
Got that.
Well, it's like if you want to get
that for sure.
Yeah, well, it's like if you want to get those younger next generation listeners, you have to understand that they come through different portals, and Greensky is one of those portals.
Yeah, and there's a lot of younger bands too. Like right now, there's a tour happening. That's three of my favorites. Mipso.
Yep.
From North Carolina,
yep.
And Little Smokies are from Missoula, and Brothers Comatose are from out here in California, and they're awesome. They're all awesome, creative bands. They're great musicians. They're we have a really growing fervent fan base, and I don't know, there's the thing that this traditional bluegrass thing where people just expect if they want people to keep playing the same songs the same way, and keep bluegrass this very limited and exclusive and sort of obsolete type of music, then I don't know, it just doesn't bode well for the future.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
When I want to, yeah.
Well, there's always going to be those. Yeah. There's always going to be those traditional groups at the core. There's always going to be them. I see them. They're always going to be there. But it's what's wrong with having some blurred lines on the edges? Because you never know down the line what's going to come of it. In a good way.
Right.
But
so
is it something that the band thinks about, or is it just something in the back of the mind that gets a little frustrating after a while?
I'm sorry, what was that question?
Is it something that the band thinks about? I mean, would you want to be more embraced by those traditional circles, or is it just,
I mean, I don't even care. It's not, we don't, not to sound arrogant or callous about it, but we've found that we don't need them.
Yeah.
In a sense, I would love for, to feel more included in what, whatever bluegrass is right now, but hold on just one second. I'm going to stop talking for just a moment. Son, for asphalt paper. Dude, look, it's on me. I mean, I wouldn't have anything against feeling more included in that environment. I got a lot of friends in that world, IBMA looks fun. I'd love to go there and pick and listen to music and just sort of participate, but if they're not interested, in a sense, we've got plenty going on.
Yeah.
We don't, it's not our career is dependent upon a nod from the traditional bluegrass world that exists in